What's up, guys? It's your boy, the essential John L. Crossfire, aka the real main event, aka the Rogue Soldier, and today you're about to learn firsthand just what it's like to be caught in the crossfire. But above all else, prepare yourself, because in this very moment, today, right now, you are about to be caught in conversation. Welcome, one and all, to episode 44 of Caught in Conversation. I, of course, am the essential John L. Crossfire. I've been pretty excited for this one to come out. This initial conversation was recorded a few weeks back. It was actually about a month exactly, depending on when you're listening to this, if you're listening to it in the first few days that it drops. I was talking to Mike Kelly and Nick Maltino, and if you've seen the thumbnail, you'd already know that. But these were two dudes that from the very moment that I created this podcast, they were on the immediate list of people that I wanted to talk to because I've looked up to them in wrestling and they're just all around great dudes. Before we get to this conversation though, I will quickly hit you guys with the song and match of the week, the usual. The song of the week this week is Wanted by Citizen Soldier. This is another track in their Fight the Good Fight project, in their fight against the stigma against mental health. It's actually their second latest release now because they released another one yesterday as I record this, so expect that one to pop up at some point in the next few episodes as well. But again, the song of the week for this week is Wanted by Citizen Soldier. Remember, as always, it is okay to not be okay. The match of the week this week, as I sit here in my green chalkline Razor Ramon basketball shorts, because I still can't get over his passing, it's actually going to be the follow-up to last week's match of the week. Of course, that was the infamous WrestleMania 10 ladder match. This week, we have the rematch to that match. About a year and a half in the making, it's Razor Ramon versus Shawn Michaels in a ladder match at SummerSlam 1995. If you guys get the chance, I'd actually recommend watching them back to back. Absolutely brilliant stuff. But the match of the week for this week is Razor Ramon versus Shawn Michaels at SummerSlam 1995. But without any more hesitation, let's just jump straight into it. Here is my conversation with Nick Maltino and Mike Kelly. Shut up. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I do apologize for the acoustics. They sound great in my ear. They might be a little bit echoey on the recording, but of course I am here with the one and only Nick Maltino, someone that I have looked up to for quite some time. He's been a mainstay in the ACT and the New South Wales area for professional wrestling / sports entertainment. It's the same fucking thing. He's actually the first t-shirt that I bought back in 2014 because I am an absolute mark in terms of Australian professional wrestling. It was just like The Flash, only slower. I've actually still got that t-shirt in my cupboard because, again, I'm a fucking mark.
Who ain't? Thanks for having me, dude.
Weighing in at 10,000 pounds of chest hair. Once again, Nick Maltino.
Thank you for having me, my dude. Thank you.
That's all good. I have as you know, I'm a bit of a blind bastard, so my notes are written on my phone. So if I look down at my phone, I'm not being rude.
It's all good. I have glasses too, my dude.
But I don't know if you've listened to any of the conversations I've had so far just yet, but when everyone comes on for the first time, I have 5 core questions, which I have so originally titled The Core 5. I always start, and they always go in the same order, and I'll just kind of sprinkle 3, 4 in kind of throughout the conversation, then I end it with 5. But 1 and 2 are always the first questions for first-time guests on this interview. I fucking hate calling it that because it's literally just a chat or a conversation with my mates. But first question, Mr. Maltino.
Yes.
What was your earliest wrestling memory?
Okay.
It's a pretty good icebreaker.
It is. I remember for the first time I ever watched professional wrestling, it was actually at my great-grandfather's house at the age of 4. Because my great-grandmother used to be a huge fan of wrestling, but like no one else in the family was. So when she passed, my great-grandfather's like, oh, I'll have a watch and see what this is all about. So basically, I was on his lap
found
watching
like all the old tapes and stuff.
Yeah,
fuck
like
yes.
70s wrestling, like your Gorgeous Georges, your Andre the Giant, the early day Hulk Hogan, like the AWA Hulk Hogan. She had tapes of that, and I was just like, where is the shit in my life now? I have no idea. That was my earliest, but the stuff I remember, the first SmackDown I remember watching as a teenager that made me go, I want to do this, was Jamie Noble versus Tajiri versus Rey Mysterio in a triple threat match. Chef's kiss.
So that blends in perfectly with question number 2, because question number 2 is, what was the deciding factor? Like, how did you get in the business and what made you get in the business? So you just answered it was the triple threat. What was the deciding factor? Like, obviously, so that triple threat was what made you go, I want to do this?
100%.
So how did you get in the business? Did you appreciate, like, did anyone approach you? Did you know people?
Well, basically, I went to one of the early CPW shows back in Turner when I was like in 04, 05. I was like 15 at the time, and I talked to a guy called Warlock afterwards. Sorry.
So I'm just adjusting Maltino's microphone, technical issues.
I wasn't the old mic fail, my bad. But no, I remember going to see a guy called Warlock. I forgot his actual name, but he's like, he thought I was older than I actually was because I have a very mature look to myself. I've had
the old Jeff Hardy trick: sign up at 16 and tell him you're 18.
Yeah, almost did, but I can't lie. So I was like, I'm actually like 15. He's like, look, come back in a couple of years. This, that, and everything else. A year later, I bumped into a guy at school who had a wrestling belt. I was like, where the fuck did you get that from? And he's like, I work for a local fed called ICW. I was like, well, if you can work, sure as shit I can work, because I'm older than you. So basically, I went to a show, spoke to Rex, and I've been there ever since.
Fair enough. Now,
on and off there.
Obviously, we don't have enough time throughout the podcast to, talk about the entire time you've been there, but you've had a few injuries here and there. A few injuries. Like your knees have been banged up, stuff like that, concussions. But how's the body feeling currently?
Currently, it's in a better shape than what it was a couple of years ago. I've slowed down on the stupid bumps that I used to do, like no more stage dives onto wooden floors, no more as much hardcore stuff. I can't say I can't do hardcore stuff because I always like to sprinkle a touch of hardcore in there.
But you've definitely leaned in a lot to like the more psychology stuff. And
exactly.
The amount of times where you've even come to me and I'm like, what if I do this? And you're like, is it going to make sense? And I'm like, I can make it make sense. And then it's like, da-da-da. And it's almost like, you don't want to say settle down, whippersnapper, but it's like, come on.
It's like I'm just an old man looking at these young kids going,
Jim Cornette yells at Cloud, but you know what? For good fucking reason. Like
Exactly.
We've just had a run-in from Nick Maltino's tag team partner, Mike Kelly, for the Dad Squad. Oh, cross.
Dave on tonight.
So, I'll wait for him to get his headset on, and I'll quickly ask the same first 2 questions before I move on. Are you ready, Mr. Mike Kelly?
Yeah, I guess.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mike Kelly, shut up! So,
Mark.
First question I ask for everyone when they come on for the first time, what was your earliest wrestling memory, just to break the ice?
Oh, Christ. It was a WrestleMania, I don't remember the number now. But Undertaker was doing a mad entrance. And I have no idea.
So, like any WrestleMania has been a part of since the early 2000s.
It was before the 10s, I know that. And he was making his entrance, it was against Stone Cold, actually. So it might not have been a WrestleMania.
No, they didn't face a Mania.
SummerSlam.
Probably SummerSlam, yeah. But he was coming out in like full Ministry of Darkness.
Is that like SummerSlam 98?
Yes.
Yeah, probably, yeah. So, yeah, no, that was my earliest memory, and I don't even know why we had it on. We never watched it before. And then suddenly it was on TV.
What's this fucking wrestling? Oh, shit, this is actually really good.
Like, oh, okay, it was just the entrance. It was just Taker's entrance that got me into it.
Definitely. So what was the deciding factor? Was there a certain match or moment that made you say, because like we've all watched it and been like, oh man, wouldn't it be cool if we wanted to do that? But there's always, for the most part, there's a moment where it's really like, holy shit, I'm gonna do this.
Definitely have to be Eddie Guerrero, Brock Lesnar at No Way Out 2004. That was the big one for me.
Well, I mean, I think everyone in this room knows what a mark I am for Eddie Guerrero. Like the pure raw emotion, like throughout the entire match, and then of course that feel good moment at the end where it's just like you can't. That's the kind of stuff that people are like, oh, that's fake, blah blah blah. But you can't duplicate that sort of.
It was definitely
that type of atmosphere.
Yeah, it was definitely that, and then the Eddie versus Ray, as bad as the fight for Dominic was.
SummerSlam 05, the ladder match.
What? The lead up to it, where Eddie just ripped Ray's mask apart and he was just bleeding that. That was nothing that got, because the emotion was there.
You know what, though? I talked about this when I was talking to Hellfire. I started watching 05, like again, back in 2020, with 2 years later now, and I've just made my way to SummerSlam. I'm actually up to that pay-per-view at the moment because I'm taking me too long because it's gotten to that point where Teak, she was like kind of a fan at that time, but she doesn't remember that stuff. So she's joined in, so I've got to kind of wait for the missus to be ready to watch it, when she's in the mood for it. But we're actually up to that SummerSlam pay-per-view at the moment.
It's going to be fun.
All right, so I'll move on to what I was up to. Mr. Nick Martino and Mark Kelly. I'm pretty sure there's a little bit here and there that you may or may not be able to answer in terms of the questions, but Maltino, he's going somewhere else when we're about to get to that, and I'll give you that chance. But you've accomplished as much as you can, at least, within a predetermined sport. Kayfabe, brother.
Yes.
But most importantly, I know for a fact that you have had a lot of fun, and I know that Mike, you've damn sure had a lot of fun. Before all three of us have had a lot of fun in the ring, outside of the ring. But do you have a certain moment? Do you have the most fondest memories? Is there any fond memories? I should say. I worded that really bad because I got thrown off by Mike entering about 5 minutes late. But that's okay. He needed a feed. But obviously, you're leaving ICW Australia. You've been here for just over a decade, I believe. Mike, you've been here for roughly around the same amount of
13 years.
Yeah, well, there you go.
Yeah.
So, and again, this is nothing personal. I'm going to preface that to anyone that has a problem with that. It's nothing personal. It's just business. I fully understand, and Nick Maltino, and he's going to get a chance to explain why. But before we get into where/what you're doing, what are your most fondest memories that you can look back on? It doesn't have to necessarily be in the ring. It can be outside the ring with the people involved as well. But do you have what's your fondest memories of ICW to look back on? That was a very long-winded question. I apologize.
No, that's fine.
Tripped all over the place.
Our original feud was probably one of my favourites with the last man standing match where none of us actually.
The wiffle ball bat.
Oh, the wiffle ball bat, yeah, and the friggin' plastic title belt that he whips me with. That was fun to explain to people at work when I took my shirt off to put on my baker's outfit. They're like, why have you got whip marks? I'm like, I'm a kinky bitch. That's what's up. That's all it is.
I've still got scars from when I got whipped by Diath with a leather belt.
I'm upset about that.
Kelly Driver off the apron.
Oh, yeah, that was the moment that made us best and mates.
And motherfucker wonder why he has bad knees.
He wonders why he's got a bad back.
Yeah, I've got a bad body all up, but look,
wrestling.
The old school ICW Goldman, the original shows, they were fun.
They were my first memories of ICW. That was the first shows that I ever went to.
The feud with Adamasics I had was magical. It was the first time I was properly a face, not just a comedy face, but I had to be Mr. Serious as a face, and it worked till as soon as I won the belt, it was cool. Now you turn your heel again because we're not sure about you as a face. I'm like, well, I just started being a face, and it's just started connecting. So why turn me back heel? I'm not the fucking Big Show guy.
Can I just say though? We talked just then. Mike was talking about Eddie versus Brock, right? As I said, the ICW. I think 2013 was my first ever live wrestling show, and it was ICW in those Goblin shows. And I remember I had no idea who the fuck any of these guys were, and it's not just blowing smoke. There was a handful of guys that I was drawn to. It was Mike Kelly, it was Nick Martino, it was Rex, and it was Chris Shadows. I remember sitting in the crowd. I do apologize if you guys can hear the noise coming from the arena right now, my bad. But I remember sitting in the crowd, and when you won that title, again, it was genuine emotion. I have gone from not knowing who these people were a couple of months ago to I literally jumped out of my chair, and thank fuck, everyone else jumped out of their chair as well, and I didn't just look like this one guy in the corner woo, you can do it! Because I was like, should I? I was like, should I, shouldn't I? And literally, as I stood up, it was almost sometimes you get those out-of-body experiences where that split second, it's it's in slow motion. It's I stood up, and everyone just stood up with me, and I was like, yeah!
Because everyone hated Adamasics that much in Goldman, so they just wanted
so it's
the local Blow Joe, which I wasn't even a local, but they dubbed me as a Goldman dude. I was like, cool, I'm an honorary Goldman.
It makes sense.
W the Goldman dude overshadows who was the Goldman dude.
Yep.
Which, funnily enough, I didn't know until fucking 5 or 6 years after the fact.
But he was heel at the time, and he
couldn't be the guy who...
All the trouble
I was the one guy in the crowd yeah, Shadows, and he's like, I hate all of you, even those cheering me, and I'm like, thank you.
Even though me and him have had our issues in the past, he's a great heel too. I don't think he would ever have been able to do the face thing in Goldman properly and get over as what he was as a heel.
Oh god,
at all.
Yeah. His unstable barrack stuff at the moment is definitely...
Yeah, I was at the most recent DMTU show, as you know. He actually did the dark match, and the whole he's, talking about someone who's not here, but he wanted to do like the whole outlaw thing. It's kind of changed a little bit, but it's still along the same wavelength. And he absolutely 100%, he's fucking nailing it. And I can't wait until, hopefully, and I don't doubt it will, I think it will make its way to the DMDU actual event sooner than later. But moving on, are there any embarrassing moments that you're going to be glad to get away from?
Hillbilly Frank. Die in a hole.
The fact that I wasn't even around for that, and you're still just hillbilly to me now because that's what everyone calls you. Apparently, that's a thing. Everyone just gets branded with their original gimmick. I guess makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, hillbilly.
Should I make Cotton Eye Joe the song of the week? Or?
I'll fucking lock your door is what I'll do.
There is a really cool metal cover by like some Italian dude.
I know. But look, not just that, but the whole China Carney experience. Fuck me, that was terrible. That setup and the fact that we had no cover on the ring. So
and then you come to Goulburn like a week later and you're sunburned from head to toe.
No. That was from Big Day Out. I was
okay.
got pissed, and then the next day I was at a wrestling event
all
with
the
like
festivals
30-degree burns. I was like, lay off my shoulder with his Asics, and he goes, I'm going to work those shoulders.
I remember he
Thanks,
chopped you on the bare sunburn, and I'm like,
yeah, he's like, this is what you have to come in sunburn. I'm like,
Ooh, my insides.
The funny thing is, I'm like, mental note, when I do get in the ring, don't get sunburn. And then I took a bump on Lego with an entirely sunburnt back. Fuck me, right?
yeah, exactly.
Like, I had the same issue, like similar to China Carney, we did Circo Belco as well.
Yeah.
And that was like a 30+ degree day. Nothing. It was just pure pain afterwards. Like, you could not touch the mat. It was that hot.
Yeah. It was literally
I was still wearing a singlet, and it was cutting through that. Fun fact, that was also Super Crimson's Mask's first match back, where he kneed me in the face from an F5.
Also, from the China Carney match
Jesus.
that we did, the infamous, photo in the Canberra Times or Chronicle, where it looks like you're literally just sitting there fucking giving me like a deliverance special, to make me feel like
And all they're just fucking twisting your nipples in the ropes.
and you're just perfectly behind me being like, yeah! I'm like, it looks like we're just butt fucking in the middle of a ring. Seriously, that's what
I
it
can
looks
say that I've officially docked Nick Maltino.
like. Yeah.
You know what?
Heard it here first, baby, that's how I
I
get
remember,
booked.
I can't remember which Rumble it was, but somehow someone did something to me, so I was kind of selling, and then someone did something to Mike, and he just, forearm, kick, stay in the corner, whatever. Somehow, Mike crawls his way to the corner, and was just like, we're practically fucking spooning, and he's like, leans in, he's like, hey, is this as good as for you as it is for me? And I'm like, you know
That's
what?
that all the fucking time.
And I'm like, you know what? It actually is, because now I've got someone to talk to. What's happening? Da-da-da-da. And everyone's just like, again, kayfabe. It's a fucking podcast. We all know how professionally wrestling works.
You lost your shit.
Everyone's doing their stuff in the corner. And I remember, I think that's the first time I've genuinely, I think that's probably the only time there's been a couple of times where I've been like, but that was the first time I've openly chuckled. I was like, ha! And then I'm like, oh shit, I'm selling.
You want to talk about openly chuckling at a show? Speaking of Chris Shadows, nothing but respect for the guy, but his tights at one stage didn't fit him. And do not wear Tuesday fucking underpants on a show on a Saturday. They started slipping. They started slipping, and Tuesday was there, and some in the crowd's like, oh, Tuesday, that's dirty. And he's like, oh, shut up already. Then later, he had to dress up as the clown thing, Frederick. And he's sitting there stomping me in the corner, and the tights start slipping. And the dude spots the Tuesday, goes, Tuesday again. Tom in the mask, it's meant to be a silent character, turns around and goes, shut the fuck up! I openly pissed myself laughing, push him off me, and just start weeping in the corner. I could not stop helping myself laugh.
Didn't that get an Adam Family style Tuesday chant over though?
Mm-hmm.
Like it did for the entire show. It was just Tuesday.
I like how just in the background we casually hear the sound check guy playing your guys' theme song. No, but as I said, I bumped into Tom at the DMDU show. I said, hopefully we can talk more. Hopefully I can get him on the pod at some point, preferably in person. But I'm going to try and remember to make a mental note to ask him about that, just so I can see his reaction. But this Nick Maltino, we're sitting backstage here at Western Warfare 5. This won't go out for another couple of weeks now because I've got a few more things lined up this weekend. But this is and obviously kayfabe again, but we're good friends outside the ring. We hang out outside 100%. Of wrestling, so at least I know I will still see you again.
100%. But there's people that I'll still want to hang out with after this, but there's some people at the same time I'm like, cool, our ties with ICW are done. fuck yeah.
But yeah, Nick Maltino, this is the last time I'm probably going to see him, at least within the backstage of a wrestling setting. Not ever, but for a long time, depending on what my adventures may or may not lead me to. But why/what are you doing? And keeping in mind, we're not going to straight up bury people. So for those that do tune in, I know I'm not going to name names. I've had a few people tune in to certain interviews. They're like, oh, I wonder what he's going to say about this person. Fuck off. You're going to be disappointed.
Yeah.
This is business.
Exactly. Like, it is a business.
This is your moment. Free reign.
Exactly.
Explain why, from a business perspective, you've had to make the decision.
Well, probably come in a couple months. So I'll say 10 months from when this drops. I had a baby boy, and that changed my whole perspective on life. So I was talking to the owner of this company, Rex, about potentially getting in-ring training for the boys, because for those who don't know, we literally do Heart Dungeon style training,
which is good. It does benefit the basics, but you need that. It's yin and yang, right? You need that balance.
You need balance. So with that said, you can't do this without that, and you can't do that without this. So with that said, the last show I was at, and I made this agreement with my missus as well. The moment ICW stopped becoming fun and safe for me, I walk. And I stuck to my word to her. As whipped as it makes me sound, I don't give a shit. But it wasn't safe, the last interaction I had here. And it sure as shit wasn't fun. Like the match I had before that, with Mike, we took care of each other. We knew exactly what each other's movesets were, what our limitations were. In the forgotten main event, we'll call it, because it's getting scrapped from the DVD. I already spoke to Rex. It's what happened.
Yeah, and again,
that's why I have the belt.
Again, the people that need to know what happened know what happened. So,
exactly.
So sorry for giving that little bit of a tease, but shit happens. It's wrestling.
Exactly.
You get told to do something. You know, obviously.
It's shit that happened out of our control.
I had a certain promoter who doesn't get named out of respect, because I'm not going to shit talk people that can't defend themselves. They basically went, "You're going to go in. You're going to do this move, this move, this move," and I'm like, the fuck I am, right? So basically, like, if it's, hey, this is the storyline, this is the layout, then you do that, right? Within reason. But if you have a formula of a match, obviously the promoter has done it for that reason. They've got plans.
Exactly, to build plans for the future of the year.
And look, mistakes can happen, but own up to them, apologize, converse, don't confront.
One sure as shit hasn't, still thinks he's in the right position, but, I say fuck you to that guy. Quite openly. You know who you are.
That's fair enough.
I don't give a shit. But thank you for making my last moments of ICW honestly feel like a bit of shit. Like, it's a bittersweet. Like, I've had so much fun here, and then one match made me go, well, it was a 3-on-1 beatdown, which wasn't meant to happen, and then
complete burial
of a character where someone just absolutely no-sells all my moves. It's kind of like you scratch my back and I scratch yours. You're going to sit there and absolutely no-sell fucking everything I do. Why would I give you any respect back? And that's where it ends. Like,
you're working with each other, not against each other.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I didn't understand.
Like, we're backstage here, as I said, at Western Warfare 5. They've actually just got new owners. They've got whole new renovations. It's fucking beautiful.
It's beautiful.
The guy that owns it, he's very into performance arts.
Yes.
Wrestling is a performance art.
Yes.
It's choreographed. You're meant to work together,
help
right?
Each other out shine. You help make each other shine. You
make each other better.
Exactly. It's not, I'll chuck my shit in and you just take it.
Like, you're playing a role.
Which I've had a few people try that with me, by the way.
Oh, 100%. And it does not fly with me, so no way.
And Mike as well. You've almost, I don't want to say part-time, but unfortunately due to injuries, you've had to kind of pick and choose bookings here and there in between injuries and COVID and fatherhood and all the fun stuff.
Like that.
Here comes the Dad Squad. Yay! But what does the future hold for Mike Kelly?
Well, it's not an unknown fact that the one thing I've been wanting to do for the last 4 or 5 years is tag with Maltino.
You guys, have genuine chemistry.
We've been wanting to tag. Yeah, we're actually cousins.
Yeah, I actually knew that.
And we've been wanting to tag for years, and it just never lined up. People didn't think we could do it or anything like that. Mm-hmm. So the thing with me is that I'm going to be joining him wherever he goes.
See, I heard rumors of that, but I'm like, shit, I don't know if we've actually, are we announcing that just yet? Or?
I am.
Okay.
I'll be announcing it now, yeah.
So, long story short was, I contacted a guy called Luke Burney, also known as Luke Watts, in the wrestling industry. He has a training facility in Mitchell in Canberra called Slam Pro Wrestling League.
Shout out the Slam. I've mentioned them a couple of times on the pod. Again, some people get salty. Get over it.
Exactly. And basically, it's in-ring training. So you get your basics, you get your fundamentals, you get your rolls, you get your running of ropes, climbing of ropes, eliminations and rumbles. Hey, who knew there was a proper way to get back eliminated? I thought you just get tossed the fuck out. Until like 2 weeks ago. Pretty much. I thought it was just duck and cover. Because that's all I've been taught.
Dodge, duck, dip, dive, and dodge.
Pretty much. That's what I've been taught. But seriously. So I went there as a tryout thing. I was like, oh God, I'm going to be that guy from the other Fed. I felt really out of place, but I got welcome base. Like they said, hey, welcome, like, just stretch out, do what you have to do and all that. Like, I didn't have any beef with anyone, but it just felt awkward being the guy.
Yeah, like you're just
guy from another company
coming in.
The thing about professional wrestling is, and especially, I feel like in this country especially, there's somehow more politics than in the bigger companies. I don't understand how that works when we're not fucking making money for the most part. You do it for the love. Yeah. But yeah, it's like it's the outsider mentality. Like it's a bit like being the new kid at school, right? Yeah, and like how are they going to take to me?
I felt like that, but after the first tryout session there, I had a chat with the trainers there. There was 3 trainers there. There was Luke, Sweet Pete, and Dan Archer. And I had a chat to all 3 of them at separate times. Luke I spoke to beforehand. He's like, I'll talk to you, maybe I might be there, but so I spoke to him before the tryout. He's like, just go, if I'm not there, I'm not there. Like, Dan and Pete will take care of you. I was like, Dan, I know who the fuck's Pete. Met Pete. That is a dude you need to pick the brain of. Like, he is wrestling knowledge. He knows every little bits and pieces about this hold, that hold.
I honestly reckon he is Australian's Jake the Snake Roberts of mat wrestling.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, like he is the psychology master of mat wrestling. Like he's our version of Dean Malenko.
Yeah.
He's done trainings with the Malenkos and Chris Jericho's and all that. He's been trained in Japan and all that. He knows his shit. And when he sat there, and as I said there, I said, you look familiar, but I don't know where from. He goes, I have wrestled years ago, but shoulder injury and dad and fat. Because I'm coming back into it. That's his words, not me trying to slam the ball.
Fuck that guy. We're changing the rules. We're going to bury him.
Throwing shade on Sweet Pete.
No, he's seriously like the guy you want to pick the brain of. And like the facility there made me go, like I felt welcomed. And
I feel like that's the most important part. Like, it's not that we don't feel welcomed here. Like, obviously, you mentioned Rex, and obviously High Octane, who's booking this show. He's booked all of us for the show. We're very much welcomed, but especially when you go into a new place, feeling welcomed. But
exactly, yeah. And the thing there was no politics.
Shock horror.
I made a mess of my trousers. Like, there was no politics there. Like, it was ridiculous.
And I just
like the week that I tried out myself, Nick was meant to come, but he didn't. Like, he wasn't able to. He had to do something else.
I had dad issues.
Dad work, life.
So, like, I told him, like, leading up to it, I was like, I was nervous as shit.
Because you've kind of then gone to put yourself in that same situation. Like, cool, I'm the new kid and the only person I know. Like, isn't he? Like, obviously you know the other guys, but you don't have that bond per se.
I knew Dan.
Yeah.
Because I per se hadn't really, like, I'd spoken to Luke at a couple of shows, but I knew Dan.
Yeah.
And way back when, like, we had our beef. 100% had our beef. But, like, everything's cool. You don't hold grudges in wrestling. You're stupid if you do.
And I said this with Atticus Lane, and he talked about how he stepped away, right? Like, everyone is different. Like, I don't really know Dan Archer that well, but from the little interactions I had with him in the ring, he took care of me. Yeah. He made me look good, and vice versa. That's the important thing, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And he was talking about how Xander Bolt, he didn't know, he being Atticus Lane, he said he didn't know Xander Bolt, Bozza, outside of saying hi or bye, right? But then you get in the ring and there's just that kind of connection sort of thing.
Yeah.
I feel like that was a bit of a rant, but you know what I mean? Like, yeah, you didn't know him, but it's like, hey, well, we've at least been backstage in the same circles to an extent.
Like, I went and did try out myself. Dan was the only trainer there. Sweet Pete showed up a bit later on, so I got to meet Pete and that. It was awesome. Like, I love ICW. I've been a part of the company, a mainstay part of the company for 13 years now.
Yeah, well, just before you came in, sorry to cut you off, I in the introduction for Maltino, I said he's been a mainstay for over a decade in the ACT and New South Wales, and you have both travelled a bit as well, but very much the same for you as well, Mike. Like, you think of, especially Canberra, but this region of New South Wales, Most fans, because, they travel to what's close to them, most fans, when they see Mike Kelly or Nick Maltino, they know one of or both of you.
Yeah, they know what they're getting as well.
I went there. I love ICW and that, but I'm with Nick. I want that in-ring training. I want to be better. Getting in that ring at that tryout made me realize how much I don't remember from all the years back.
100%.
I'd been wrestling and all that. 13 years, I didn't know how to go backwards over the top rope either.
Yeah.
For 13 years. That's just as he said, just yeet.
Yeah, it was just a yeet moment for us.
So it was like a recognizing of, okay, I can do better. I want to do better, but I have to sacrifice to do that. And I didn't take it lighthearted either.
And I think that's what a lot of people don't realize is this isn't just you going, fuck those guys. You genuinely, both of you have bonds with Rex, with Octane. Anyone else that may or may not be involved in, whether it's management or still in that inner circle, I guess. Exactly, am I allowed to use that term these days? Will I be sued? But yeah, it's you've genuinely had to sit there and you both have made sacrifices.
We've done the hard yards, we've done the, back in the day I used to be a baker outside of wrestling. Shock horror, wrestling doesn't pay the bills. So I remember
you heard it here, folks. Nick Martino used to put buns in the oven professionally.
Professionally used to put buns in the oven.
Yeah, years of training before he finally mastered it.
That and I didn't want kids then. Now I'm happy to have my little boy.
What? Long-term storytelling? Yeah. That's some character development, pal.
How dare they? So, back to my story. I would start at 3 in the morning. So I'd be up 2:30, depends if I shower or not. Let's get real.
Dirty bastard.
Let's get real. I lived a 2-minute drive from work, so I would shower anyway. But 2:30, I'd be work till 12, go home, shower again, pack bag, go venue, and then be please, for the love of God, will someone do the last part of the pack down, put back in the storage area, for ICW. What's that? No one's there? Okay, fuck me then. I'll do a 24-hour day and then just sleep all day tomorrow. Awesome. And so when I got my new job, I was like, this is actually a bit easier for me now because I do more Monday to Friday, bloody this and that, more office. Not office job, but still retail, but goddamn, I'm in charge, so I can do whatever I want. And so with this said, I do my hours and then it's the same deal though, and especially after I wouldn't say whiplash, because after the kind of burial / disrespect of the last show, I was already at a wit's end of having to do multiple years of double duties, multiple years of hurting myself. Then 2 particular moves in that last match made me go, holy crap! I almost shit myself in the ring because someone's whole body weight went crashing down on my abdomen where I already had a sore back. So I was the pressure alone almost made me myself.
The worst thing about that is, we had a last man standing match, and you weren't there for that.
Yeah, I missed that one, unfortunately.
We didn't hold back.
We didn't hold back at all. The punches were legit.
Punches were legit. The baseball bat with freaking Lego on it exploded nearly up to the top back row when he hit me with it.
Yeah.
Fuck that Lego bat.
The only thing that hurt either one of us in that match was because this dumbass put the lid down wrong.
Yeah, and I basically said, spine bust me on it. Bang. Hit me in between.
Oh, did you go on the handle?
No, on the rim.
So the ring part was up.
On the rim.
So the ring was
that's what I meant, it was propped up wobbling.
Wobbling. Yeah. Oh. It jarred in between 2 parts of my back, and because I already hurt my back previously at another gig, my back was twitchy. I was oh fuck, we got to end this now. So that was already paining me. I knew I had to go in and out of this other match, and basically I had to go in, eliminate someone, get eliminated. That was it. Instead I got a 3-1 beat down. I was oh man, I wasn't told this was happening. Then I came back and I saw Rex. I was well, I'm out of the match. And he's wait, what the fuck? How come? I was because your old mate changed it on you. Have fun.
But I feel before we move on, Dan, you made a really good point amongst that, right? You talk about you beating the shit out of each other. I'm far from ever going to be a grizzled young fucking, grizzled old vet, I should say.
I was going to say, don't say young veteran because you're going to friggin'...
He's a grizzled young vet. Luke Gallows is going to sue me now. That's okay. No, but I feel I've always been like, and I've talked about this on the podcast with my wife. I'm like, do I have an ego, or is it just that I'm so fucking passionate about absorbing all this information, right? So I've always been big on studying every little bit that I possibly can. And something that William Regal said, and I believe you and I, Maltino, have had this conversation, right? You can hit a dude as hard as you fucking want, as long as you do it in a safe spot.
Exactly. We did not have a single mark on each other.
Like that is one
and we were going
piece of advice that I know I have a lot of people that are currently training or getting into training, and I guess to them I'm a veteran because I've been in the business. Sounds so I hate when people say that. I've been in the business for this many years. But does it equal that many years of experience? But anyway, I've been in the business for about 6 years now. If you include like the first original training I did back in the day before the Goldman shows unfortunately stopped and yada yada yada. But I've got people hitting me up and they're like, how can I do this? How can I do that? And I'm like, look, make sure if you have a character, you get that over. Make sure you're not just doing moves for the sake of it. Like, make sure you build the moves around the character, not just, I want to do this move. But that's a really big one, is the William Regal. Make sure you're obviously wrestling is make sure you're safe, but people just go, I'm going to do this move and this move. It's like, no, just make sure you're competent enough to do it in a safe spot.
No, 100%.
Especially with striking. And this is just advice in general to anyone starting out. Don't be afraid to hit whoever you're training with. Because that's the best way for us to teach you on how to do it safely.
And look, accidents can happen, right?
Exactly.
I did where I go from one, I do kind of like the parallel forearms, right? I bounce off one rope, forearm, off the other, opposite corner, forearm in the corner. I did it with James Hellfire. It was his very first match. At the very last second, for whatever reason, shit happens. I dislocated my best friend's jaw in the first 5 minutes of his first match. I mean, it popped back in pretty much instantly, thank fuck. But I rocked the shit out of him. And by that point, I'm like, I'd had enough experience to where at least I know how to carry a match. We can structure it, that's fine.
Yeah.
Boom. And I'm like, I was aiming for here, why did you move? And he's like, his answer was, I don't know. It was just a simple, he froze up, accidents happen, but I was aiming for the, for like the kind of, the little nook.
The little pocket.
But he turned his head and it was forearm straight to the jaw. And I'm like, what would you done if I hadn't have pulled up that little bit? I just kind of saw him move.
He would have been sitting
and
with
it's
wires in his mouth. That's what would have happened. He would have had a broken jaw. It would have been like a knock in out. It would have been a break.
So again, we're not here, we're not burying anyone. No. Shit happens, but
yeah.
It's a business decision at the end.
Another gripe.
And you wanted to get it off your chest. And
another gripe of mine was hearing, I'm a vet, I don't have to advertise.
I put so much money into advertising.
I'm resigned to being a fucking commentator, and there's nothing wrong with that. That's a very important job. Mm-hmm. And tonight I'm refereeing, in my opinion, the most important job, right? I'm still like, hey, look, it's only $10, $15, but if you've got the money, put into it. And it's you need to pay your dues to a certain extent, but at the same time, I don't think anyone truly ever finishes, right? I feel like if you've been in the business for X amount of years, you can delegate, because that's fine. Everyone needs to know the basics, get the rookies and get them in there. But yeah, again, we're not going to bury anyone, not naming names, but
no, we're not naming names.
There's a lot of factors, not just within wrestling as well. Some people are dicks, and that's okay. We don't have to get along, but when we're in the ring, we do what we're fucking told. We shake each other's hand. Exactly. Thanks for the match. Check on you. Make sure you're okay. Yeah. Something just exploded behind us. That's okay.
That's okay. You're not here, dude.
We're live, pal.
And the thing with me is, right, and I know I'm going to cop a lot of shit for it, and I don't care. I haven't been able to get to a training for ICW for a long time because of where it's located.
Yes.
Whereas with the slam stuff, it's 15 minutes away from work. And it's 15 minutes after 45 minutes after I finish work. By the time I get there, it's 5:30. That's a lot easier for me to go straight from work to there than home.
And it's not that, it's not that you're not willing to travel. It's just that the logistics of, hey, if I finish work or if I do whatever, and I leave at this time, I'm going to get here at this time, and it's basically, okay, now I'm going to turn around and go home.
On a standard day for me, to get home from work, it takes me until 5:30 alone. And by then, I'm better off getting ready and just going straight to PCYC, because there's no point in me staying around and then just wait there for an hour and a half.
Well, the other thing is like it's the amount of time in training too. No disrespect to but there's obvious differences.
Yeah.
With ICW, it's like I'm sadly gonna do a bit of a burial, but with all respect, it's what they can afford. It's 2 hours every fortnight. That's 1 2 hour
Should be at
session a
least
fortnight.
weekly. I
Yes.
feel at the very
Should
least.
be at least 1 hour each week.
And then again, that comes to the young guys that are trying to come in. If you're saying, yeah, I'll be there,
And then you don't.
fucking turn up and be there. Or
Exactly.
someone who, again, I'm not going to mention names because I don't think he's even in the business anymore, says, hey, Nick Maltino, want to give me this personal one-on-one session? You
On the
drive
other side
40
of
minutes to
town.
his house and you knock on his door and he sleeps through it. So you turn around and say, fuck it. And then 5 hours later, he's like, why didn't you come to my house?
It's like, I did. I banged on your door, you fucking knuckle. Nathan, I believe his name is. Fuck that guy. He can eat a fucking bag of dicks, honestly. Like,
It's fine. We didn't say his last name. Who gives a shit?
I don't even remember his last name. I just remember
don't
it's
remember
Nathan.
him.
It's he literally came in and came up to me and said, you know the footwork of chain and this and everything else. I would like to learn off you a bit more. I live in Gordon. Is there a chance you can come down, like say Sunday morning, and help me out with like a one-on-one training? I was like, sure. But, like, you know, you better be up for it. You better be down for it. Like, you better be ready. Because I'm going to work you with ups and downs, like, you know, making sure you get up to the right side. And, you know, it's just going to be basic footwork shit.
That's great stuff, though, because those up and downs, they blow you up like a motherfucker.
Oh, yeah, we know. Like, that's right, we know. And basically with that
Don't
said,
fucking
it's
mention
just,
it, you prick.
Oh, don't. It gives us, like, nightmares.
But yeah, I think we've kind of broken our own rules there, but I'm not even going to censor that because we didn't mention his last name or whatever, and he's probably
don't
not even
remember
in the
it.
business anymore. But don't fucking say you're going to
wanna-
train and then no show. Like, if you've got reasons...
show at your own
if
house.
you... Little, I guess it wasn't technically a no-show because he was there, but don't go out and get drunk as fuck and be like, oh, sorry, dude, I was really hungover. Can we do this again? No.
No,
You
get one
can pay
chance.
me. You can pay
You
me.
can pay me to come down next time. 'cause I did it at the
You
good
can
one.
pay to come meet you somewhere else
Yeah.
halfway.
And I was going to actually say to him, if you want to train, we'll go out on a rainy day and I'm going to make you do bitch work in the mud. Like, that's what I said to him. And I didn't hear from him since.
But yes,
And I was
young
like,
people,
"Alright,
rookies, if you're going to train, please fucking train. That is all. That's the only point that I
sure
wanted
you-
to make there.
And like, you know, if you don't want to do this person's training, so be it, but you got to get trained. So look up other training schools. Even if you have to drive 2-3 hours there and you can only make it like once a fortnight, it's still training, guys. You've got to get that shit
When
in.
we went, I don't remember how long ago it was when we went to AFW.
Yeah, we went to
AWF.
AWF for a
train.
one-off training,
Great.
and in that one training alone, like, you know, this was like probably 4 years ago now.
Yeah.
We went there just as like, you know, oh, like, you know, we'll go to a training. Like, we were blown up, and there was other, like, not even halfway through the training, and there's other dudes running circles around us that
Yeah.
haven't even quote unquote debuted, like, you know, doing the finger mark things. Like, you know, they haven't
Quotation marks on an audio podcast. I do it pretty much at least once an episode. So there you go. Maltino's done it for me. But when I went up to Queensland, okay, again, fuck that promotion, fuck that guy. All the guys and girls that wrestle for them, fucking more power to you. I'm glad to see you guys are thriving. But I had a seminar with Craven. Now, I don't know Craven very well, but the actual seminar itself is the best training session I've had in my life. I was blown up like a motherfucker. He could tell I was blown up like a motherfucker, but I pushed myself. I finished it, and at the end of it, he's like, you have, you know, he named a couple of guys, he named 3 of us, and he's like, you guys, with all due respect to everyone, you could have potential. You could be something. Unfortunately, my eye almost fucking exploded, and here we are, but...
Unfortunately, you can't see shit.
That's the other thing. Last slam training I did, my first ever monkey flip, I drank like half a bottle of water before this. It was not the best idea I ever had. But
Did you do a Triple H?
Hang on.
Yeah.
Hang tight. So I was already gassed as fuck. We're like, what, 2 hours in, hour and a half into this session.
About an hour and a half, yeah.
Hour and a half into the session, and I'm trialing like burpee. That was basically my response. And then Luke, who's got like energy for friggin' days, he's the energizer bunny of friggin' wrestling. He really
Yeah,
is.
he
Like,
really-
the dude just kept running circles
keeps
around
going.
everyone.
He just
Dude
keeps
does
going.
not have a fucking off switch, and I hate that about him, but I love it as well. It's like, cool, you and me are going to do an international sport involving, like, I had to leapfrog over him. In case you don't know who I am, I got the stumpiest legs, so my leapfrog was literally like,
He's got the stump. He's got the stumpiest legs and the widest man's jump.
Yeah, and I'm the definition of white man don't jump. Like,
I was about to say that exact same thing. White man can't jump.
No, and so I got over him just like by the skin, like by the foreskin of my cock. I got over him, and like I could have been Jewish if his head was a razor. Like shalom, like it was just ridiculous. And then I stumbled, and he's like, "Get ready for it to like hip toss me." I'm like, "Oh fuck!" So I barely got him over with a hip toss at this stage. I'm like, "Oh my god, I'm so gassed." It's like, "Cool, I'm gonna body slam you." No, you're gonna body slam
No, it was
me.
monkey flip first.
No, you body slam, drop kick. I did a drop kick, so I landed on my side. I was like, oh man, I'm feeling pretty fucking weak. Corner to corner reversal, monkey flip. I over rotate and land directly on my ass, so my stomach just crunches in. And straight away, Mike notices like I go whiter in the face. I went like white as a sheet of paper, like just pale. And he went to pick me up for a body slam, and I just pushed him off, head through the ropes, projectile out the fucking building.
Like I gave him props. I've never seen this man move so fast to clear the ring to not get vomit.
I mean, that's sacred, man. Like, you want to vomit on the floor, that's
he did
fine.
great.
But
And
don't
then-
touch the
and then
canvas.
after that, so Luke's like, all right, cool. Like, helped me out the ring. I was like, okay, go vomit outside. I literally Team America'd it. Basically, like, I kept going. And I
just all
thought,
the
oh,
water.
shit, my life, I'm going to die. Like, and then after a while, like, all the water came out, and I was like,
You good now?
Like,
So I just sat there and, like, did my old man shuffle on the outside when everyone else is doing burpees. I'm like, I'm still part of it, coach.
Like with me, like that training session, 10 minutes in, I was done.
Yeah.
Like I was just done. I couldn't keep going. I couldn't push myself either.
But those are the best
I
ones.
give
though.
him the like props for pushing as far as he did. But like I had to sit down. I was about to fucking pass out. I was about to black out completely. Turns out I had a viral infection that had started that day, and it was just fucked me.
I mean,
for the
they
entire
always
week.
say sweat it out. I mean,
Yeah, I know.
that's the one thing, right? We talk about, look, we're not here to bury anyone. We appreciate everyone. Everyone that has trained, has done, been trainers, I should say, they do have that knowledge, and it's
Yeah.
great. But the structure has changed so many times as well. And I remember when we really had a decent structure of, hey, we're going to do X amount of time of cardio, and then we'll
Yeah.
go into other stuff, right? I remember it's like, hey, we're doing 100 squats. I got to 20 and I was like, I'm pretty sure my ass is going to fall off, right? But at the same time, those are the best ones because, and this is the whole reason that I think it boils down to is, you said it before you want to get better, is that you're trying to better yourself. If you can't push yourself and if you're going to be content, is there really a reason to keep going? Like, forget about kayfabe accolades for a second, right? Taz once said, and I believe, he did say it to kind of tongue-in-cheek, it was more from a kayfabe aspect. He's like, if you don't want to be world champion, get the fuck out. Like,
Basically.
look, I want to be the IC champion. I'll float around the mid-card. I just want to wrestle. I don't fucking care. But at the same time, like, if your abilities at least and what you're actually capable of are just kind of here, and again, audio podcast, but my hand's here, you need to be up here, or at least somewhere in between. If you get here and then you're like, I'm good, what's the point?
With me, with my view on that one, is I 100% agree with Taz, but in the training part of it is you don't sit there and say, I'm the best.
Yeah.
So you don't need to do that. No, you should always, regardless of how many years you've been in the business, no matter how long you've been doing it, no matter how good you think you are, always go and do the basics at the very least.
Yes.
Train.
I met Chavo Guerrero. I didn't even do the VIP, but I was wearing my Eddie Guerrero shirt. So he has, on his way past, he's literally picked me out of his shirt and he's like, I love your shirt, thank you, blah, blah, blah. Like I feel like he was genuine too. Like it looked like he was starting to tear up, like thank you for repping
He
my
seems
uncle
like
sort of thing,
genuine
right?
vet.
And I was just like, look, I don't want to be a mark for myself. And he kind of chuckled and he's like, okay, but go on. And I'm like, I've been in the business for X amount of years. Eddie is my fucking hero, right? And he's like, I'm glad to hear that. He's like, let me guess, you do the frog splash? And I'm like, yeah, that's one of the finishes. and I'm like, is that okay? And he's like, it's a fucking wrestling move. Who cares, right? But he's like, I just want to tell you something, brother. And I'm like, yeah. And he's like, stick to the basics. So that's one thing where I know it sounds really pompous and it's name dropping, but I'm always with the rookies, right? They're like, for example, like, look, you guys want to train like in the ring. It's not simply the fact that it's just the ring, right?
No.
Because there's other stuff. But
stability
so
of
many
that.
people we've had, and I was talking to other people about this, we've had so many people come up and they're like, oh, I want to get into the business. I want to do that. We've done fish bumps and we've done rolls and we've tried to go back as basic as we can to try and get them involved. They've sat on the sidelines. They haven't come back because, I wanted to get in the ring and I want to run the ropes and I want to do this, this, and this. And it comes back to, it does come back to the paying your dues as well. But I've always said that. I make the joke every time with Maltino, what are we doing tonight? Top rope Canadian Destroyer, brother. But I say every rookie, they're like, most of the time, even before the character stuff comes out, it's stick to the basics. And then I'm like, I'll name drop and be like, I was told face to face this by Chavo Guerrero.
Or as Billy Gunn says, don't shit the bed.
Actually, yes, I asked Billy Gunn at a Q&A in House of Hardcore. I'm like, look, I'm debuting on this date. I'm like, I direct this at either Tommy Dreamer or Billy Gunn. Blah, blah, blah. Tommy literally, as if he was gonna say something genuine, and Billy's like, I got this one. So Tommy's like, all right. And he's like, don't shit the bed. But in fairness, I'm sure what Tommy Dreamer was going to say was probably going to be like super detailed and insightful, but in a weird way,
so was
Billy Gunn's advice, it probably was better. It was probably better because it led to the best thing ever. Pre-match ritual. Always take a dump before you wrestle.
100%.
We almost didn't learn that lesson last show. But like the training session, the last training session I went to where I got blown up in 10 minutes, I stayed. I still stayed.
And watched.
And I watched. And I learned so much just from watching on the outside and talking to Luke as he was pulling out the new guys. He was pulling the new guys out to work with him one-on-one outside.
Me out as well.
Pulling out Maltino as well, yeah. And I'm sitting there, I learned so much just from watching him. Like, I'm glad I sat around. People are like, oh, you should have gone. And it's like,
yeah. And I want to...
Sorry, Matt. Sorry. The funniest part about that was I actually watched Luke's reaction to the other people saying, oh, you should probably just go. And Luke's like, no, he's watching. Fuck off. And the worst part about that was, legit, every time I got pulled out to do like the minor details of Luke, I think it was twice I got told, oh, maybe try this way instead. I was like, cool. Everyone was, oh, no, you're fine. I'm like, no, I need to know more. I was like, no, you're fine. You're good. Fuck off. I'm like, no. He's like, get Little Show or something like that. Yeah. Get that guy. I was like, no, like, teach me more. Like, I wanted to know more. He's like, nah, you're good enough. Fuck off. I'm like, go away.
Again, I sound like a crack record on pretty much every fucking episode I do. I don't know how I've gotten to almost 800 downloads, to be honest, but I'm not a grizzled vet, right? I'm not going to be a vet for quite some time, very long time. But again, right, I had pneumonia. I'd gotten past the point where I was contagious, but my lungs were still fucked. And being an asthmatic and a former smoker, because what kind of asthmatic smokes, but fucking anyway, right? But I just gotten past pneumonia. I could barely walk, right, because my lungs were still fucked up. But I was past that stage where I was contagious. So I grabbed the notepad, and I still went to training, and I sat there, and I took notes, and I asked questions, and some of my questions were deemed as stupid. I don't think there's anything such as stupid questions. But
stupid question.
Again, as Mike says, right? Even if you can't train, take in every bit of knowledge you can to an extent. Like, it sounds really pompous, but most of my stuff has come from. I think that Jim Ross is one of the greatest wrestling minds in the business. There's some things he says on his podcast where I'm like, look, the new age of wrestling has gotten past that, and you have to deal with it. But there's so much stuff in there. Like, any bit of knowledge that you can take in, take it. If you can't train, still show up.
Case in point, I worked a show in Albury for Gippsland Pro. It was like one day, we're on the road show.
Is that Andy Rhodes' promotion?
Yes.
Shout out to Andy Rhodes.
And Joel Bateman was booking at the time.
Shout out to Joel Bateman.
I was homies with Joel back in the day.
Everyone knows how much I love Joel. Joel knows how much I love Joel.
Joel, hit me up, bro. Never forget a brother.
How you doing?
Yeah.
Nick Maltino is deathmatch ready. Not really. His wife will kill him. Well, fiance, I should say.
Yeah, well, basically, I remember we did a show with Lance Hoyt, or Lance Archer, or whatever you want to call him these days, Vance Archer, whatever. And I remember my first words to him were the most genuine words he heard all day. Like, everyone's like, oh my God, we're not worthy, blah, blah, blah. My first words to him were, fuck, dude, you are tall. He just pissed himself, went, that's the genuine reaction I wanted. Let's pick brains. I'm like, I don't have one. I was like, my brain has gone to mush because my face is basically at your dick height.
Sir, would you like a service?
We're 50 minutes in. I've still got 3 of the core 5 questions left. They're the only questions that are left because I didn't want to take too much notes because I didn't know how much you did or didn't need to get off your chest. And then obviously Mike did a run-in as we discussed moments before we recorded. Then he disappeared anyway.
Chips, so it's all good.
But question number 3, this is where we become marks. And you guys can decide amongst yourself who answers first. what is your favorite match that you've had of all time, and what is the favorite match that you have seen of all time?
Oh, shit.
As we start to unwind a little bit and get, become marks.
Okay, my favorite match that I've seen was at a WWE live event back in 2004. Kurt Angle versus Eddie Guerrero. Main event. It wasn't for a championship. It was just put on for a technical classic. I remember being a 14-year-old being like, this is my first real big WWE show. You had all the flips and theatrics with The Undertaker with his 10-minute entrance versus JBL with this one drunk dude in the corner being like, JBL fucking rules, and everyone else is like booing him. I'm like, no, that guy's fucking right. He's going to walk out with the belt. Just get ready.
He's right, you know.
He's right. JBL is a wrestling god. I actually appreciate JBL's work. And, basically at the end point, fucking Gibson.
Jake Gibson just ran into the room, everybody. When are you going to come on?
Sorry, boys.
brother.
I'll come on whenever you invite me.
Send me your phone number later. We'll work something out.
Okay. no nudies, by the way. I'm not really into that stuff.
No,
Just wrestling talk, yeah?
okay.
Don't
Just
open a
wrestling.
message from me then, because it's a cockpit.
Yeah,
That was me.
Oh my god!
Yeah, right? Who knew? 1 inch.
I was going to say, my missus would be so jealous if I showed that photo.
You've got half an inch on me, brother.
Hey, boys.
So
Thanks,
the
brother.
question was my first wrestling.
Your favorite wrestling match you've ever seen was
That
Eddie
was
versus
Eddie versus.
Kurt Angle at a live event. Fuck you. That sounds amazing.
They got really showy as well. So they had the showy matches after, they always had the showy matches, but they actually got to put on technical masterpieces as well. So I was like, fuck yes, this is it. That's my favorite match, and I remember it to detail because Eddie kept going for the 3 amigos, but on number 2, Angle would block, lock, ankle slam, German, belly to belly him, and then he actually belly to belly him into the ring, into the turnbuckles, and I was like,
A spot which everyone does these days, and again, make it make sense.
Back in the day, it was a desperado spot. Kurt Angle was like, fuck you, I want to win.
Yeah, you go to that
Bang.
point where you need to fuck your
And then
opponent up.
He goes,
It's us again.
I think the sound guy's just having so much fun with the fact that your guys come out to the Friends theme song.
and what was the second part of that?
What's your favorite match that you've ever had?
I ever had?
I'm assuming it's probably something with either
I'm
Mike or
I'm
Rex.
just getting naked. Sorry, guys.
Honestly, I've got
It's getting to that time.
a top 3. Was the match I had with Mike and Goldman with the double swerve fucking Vince Russo style booking.
Fuck you, Mike Kelly. I was in the crowd like, why? Why would you do this to me?
My match with Essex in Goldman still holds out to be one of my favorites.
Still one of the better matches I've seen live, bar promotion. I'm talking WWE, fucking House of Hardcore, New Japan.
It was just basic.
Atmosphere. You
It was
cannot
basics
recreate
and
atmosphere.
crowd work. That's all it was. And believe it or not, I am a fanboy, but the one that actually built my confidence massively was my match against Joel Bateman in CBW. Yes, I got an egg on my head for it, but I don't give a fuck.
That's fine.
It was.
It happens, again,
basically-
accidents
it was
happen.
the match that really made me feel more confident about my wrestling because Joel's like, you got the fucking shit down. He goes, you're just lacking confidence. And I feel like I've gone back to that a bit now with the new training area. I've kind of drawn back my confidence a bit. But I know I'll just need that extra spark match to go back to where I was. It's just, obviously I got more to live for.
You
as well.
could, before we get to Mike's answers, you could go out there tonight as we record this, apply what you've learned, and have a fucking banger of a match, and all of a sudden it's like, huzzah!
Our aim is basically
Shout out to Doc
help
Archer.
our opponents out, help our opponents out, make it look decent, get it over. Fucking aim for match of the night. Screw it. Why not?
Yeah.
Your
Again,
goal is to
aim
put
as
on
high as
shows.
you possibly can.
We did it last show. We're probably going to do it again. The Dad Squad debut and what, and get ready for match of the night.
And as the shirt says on prowrestlingtees.com/crossfire, there is currently a sale as we record this. Not ego, just fact.
I like it. I like
Mike,
it. I like it.
what is your favorite match of all time, both that you've had and that you've seen, or what that you've seen or that you've had? Answer it in any order you like. I don't care.
My most favourite that I've seen live would have to be when NXT came to Canberra. Samoa Joe and Bobby Roode
Yes.
tag teaming again. I can't remember who they were going
Ty
against. It was
Dillinger.
Ty Dillinger and
Shinsuke.
Yeah, Shinsuke.
Yeah. I remember.
TNA.
And friggin'
NXTNA.
fucking bloody Samoa Joe's walking down the ring. Roode's behind him. He starts going. A fan starts going him, and he
fan
starts
from
going.
Goldman.
Yeah, a fan from Goldman that we knew starts going.
Because you
him.
guys, I think, were 1 or 2 rows behind me, but you would like on the elevated seats.
Yeah.
So we could pretty much look at each other directly
Yeah.
if I turned my head.
And like they were going full on at Rude, and he's like, oh yeah.
That
let's
clip's
go.
actually on one of the
And then
WWE social
Joe-
accounts somewhere.
And then Joe comes in and just stands there. And Rude's behind Joe's like, yeah, what you gonna do? What you gonna
And
do?
not only that,
work.
the fan jumps like 5 fucking rows
No,
back.
he hadn't then. He's kept going and started going Joe. So Joe does the lunge forward.
Yeah, he does like the
and
fake
he
out,
shits
the
himself.
fake out,
Jumps
the old
like
fake
5
out, and
miles
old man's
back.
like, oh shit, I've got a pissed off Samoan.
And that's also where we got the term "sit your ass down."
Again, completely in sync. Bah, bah, bah.
That's a banger. I don't care for that.
Shout out to Maltino's whole theme song.
Yeah, so like that was the best one that I've ever seen. Like,
So would you put that up there with stuff that you've seen on TV as well, or?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I put that up there. Like, it was a great experience.
Because again, it's all about the emotion.
Yeah. Locally, I'd have to say the best match I've seen locally was definitely bloody Robbie Eagles versus Will Ospreay 1 and 2. Amazing match.
They had fantastic matches, and he had great matches with Brooksy as well.
Yeah. Him and
We just completely got sidetracked by the
Yeah.
Joe story. Did we answer your favorite match that you've had?
I'm about to.
Okay.
Right now.
I'm getting so caught in conversation, no pun intended, that actually was completely accidental.
I've had great matches with a lot of people. Like I loved my match against you, Nick Lasher is probably one of the top 3. The other last man standing we've done is probably in there too. Yeah. But my favourite one was there was a show, I do not remember when it was at all. It was me and Rex, and we'd both just been really pissed off. I don't remember what had done. Something had happened at the show, and we were just really pissed off. So we just went out there slugging it. It was probably one of the better matches of my career. So it was me and Rex for the world. It was me and Rex for the world title. He was still the world champion.
That was the year I was out too.
Yeah, I think it was 2014 or something like that. And we just started slogging it out. It was one of my better matches.
And again, you guys can answer this in any order you like. Who is your ultimate dream opponent? I'm talking, put your fucking mark hat out. I'm talking Sting versus Undertaker, shit like that. Who is your personal ultimate dream opponent? And what, if any, is the ultimate dream stipulation?
I would love to face, ultimate dream stipulation. I've always been a huge fan of 4 wrestlers, so I would have to do 4 matches if that's possible.
That's fine.
I would do Mick Foley.
I was waiting for that one to come out.
Just hardcore with Mick Foley. Hell in a Cell with Triple H, because that dude knows his psychology as well, so it's not all
Yes.
about beating the fuck out of each other.
He buried everyone, though. He buried them.
Oh, fuck off.
Fucking shut up.
Awesome. The Reign of Terror, I fucking dug, so fuck off, everyone.
It was great television.
JB Noble in a dog collar match, I feel like that dude would fucking rock the shit out of that. Hear me out. And then just a plain, simple, no time limit fucking match with William Regal. Just no rules, just no time limit. Just let us duke it out for as
The
long as
best
we could.
part about that is, right, when people they talk about who's the most over, who's the most overrated, underrated, blah, blah, pound for pound, my answer straight up, I have 3 answers that I go to depending on my mood, but it's always the same 3 wrestlers. Pound for pound, who's the most underrated wrestler of all time? Jamie Noble's the one that I say. The other one's William Regal, and the other one's someone who I mentioned earlier, Chavo Guerrero.
Yeah, 100%. All 3.
The fact that 2 of those guys are in there, and it doesn't surprise me because a lot of your stuff is very William Regal-esque, sometimes it's intentional, sometimes it's not, but you've just really got that mind and that personality. You love that style. That's what drew you in
British
almost.
style of wrestling is what I truly dig. I love that.
And then you can sprinkle in the Lego every now and then, and
Exactly.
Cactus Jack is back, baby.
The elbow, baby.
Bang, bang.
Bust the elbow out. I went to do an elbow on him, but I was like, he's getting up. And so I went for a freaking crossbody off the thing, and this was the one occasion of White Man Can Jump. I almost went over, and I was like, oh, fuck me.
Adrenaline is a hell of a drug. Fuck cocaine.
No, don't say fucking cocaine.
I mean, cocaine can give you a lot of adrenaline for whatever.
Cocaine gives you adrenaline. I
Mark
mean,
Kelly.
don't do drugs, kids, for the love of fuck.
Mark-
I'm a parent, and I'm saying, just go buy coke.
I say
it
that all the
gives you
time. I'll
adrenaline.
say something and I'll be like, kids, and I'm like, wait a minute, this is marked as E for explicit. So if kids are listening to this, I'm blaming the parents. It's on you. Mike Kelly, who is your ultimate dream opponent, and what, if any, is the stipulation?
To be honest, I've never really thought of it too much, but it's definitely going to be
Off the top of your head, if you were to just go bang,
me versus Eddie Guerrero in a ladder match.
fucking A.
Custody of Dominic.
My second one would definitely have to be Mike Kelly versus Chris Jericho, steel cage.
He'll set Eddie up for a Kelly driver off the ladder and say, backdrop, and he won't hear him. So then he's going to be forced to do a pedigree off the fucking ladder, and my knee!
Not me! I'm deaf, alright? Leave me alone.
Cafe, brother.
Brother. What you gonna do?
Question number 5, I always end it with a non-wrestling question. I try to be unique as I can to the individual, and luckily you guys are so much alike that I was almost annoyed that I had to recycle this question, but it may actually work for both of you. I'm using the same question for Nick Maltino because this was originally scheduled to be a one-on-one interview before I bumped into Mike earlier. I used the same question that I asked High Octane earlier in the day. What is your favorite Simpsons quote to end this podcast?
Oh, fuck. Okay.
I feel like
It's
Mike,
too hot today.
I feel like Mike fits in that category as well because half of our conversations, especially when we're setting up the ring, is just let's make 1,000 Simpsons references, and then some people get, some people don't.
Okay. I've got like a bunch. It's like, care for a belt of scotch? It's 9:30 in the morning. Yeah, but I haven't slept in days. From Lionel Hutz. Boy, howdy, I sure hope someone got fired for that blunder by the nerd. And Worst Anything Ever by Comic Book Guy. And
That may actually be a good title for this episode.
My favorite of all time is, it was the worst of times. It was the blurst of times, you stupid monkey. And then, or, hits right.
Yeah, as I said, I feel like that question could also apply to Mike Kelly. So as we round this up before we get into any plugs and upcoming events, please don't sue me, Cockabana. What is your favorite Simpsons quote of all time?
Oh crap! I shouldn't have said it was important. Oh crap! I definitely shouldn't have said it was illegal. It's too hot today. As I sit here sweating because it is muggy as hell outside.
The aircon has finally kicked in, thank God.
Yeah. Or Stop, he's already dead.
Another one of mine.
I did that at the
from
last
Sideshow-
TMTU show.
Another one of mine from Sideshow Bob was, no, it's German for the boat, the. And then the lady afterwards, oh, no one who speaks German could be an evil man. Fuck.
God, how have they
or
not been cancelled?
Or recently. yes, that's what we wanted you to think. Soviet
to the
Union sign
microphone?
fucking pumps around. It's like, Jesus Christ.
No, I was originally going to title this episode Friend Squad, because obviously you're the dad squad, you come out to friends. I'm totally fucking original, but I think Worst Anything Ever, that may have to
Yeah,
that has to be the title
Worst
of this episode.
ever.
Yeah, worst episode ever, or worst anything ever, whatever's. I made a typo when doing the High Octane one. It was meant to be Dad is building a ladder, but I called it Dad built a ladder. But you know what? Who gives a shit? As we wind down, do you guys have any plugs? But also, I did have one question I was meant to ask Maltino, just because I wanted a reaction, but I feel like I should ask Mike because I don't actually know his stance on this. Why is pineapple on pizza the greatest topping of all time?
Oh, get fucked.
Oh, Jesus. I got a double whammy. The funny thing is, I literally said to Hellfire earlier, I said, I guarantee Maltino will say, get fucked.
Yeah, and Mike's exactly in my corner with that bad boy.
I had a
Fucking
barbecue
fist bump.
Hawaiian pizza pie last night. It was delicious.
There is no such thing as a good fucking Hawaiian
I
pizza.
want this episode deleted.
You know what's even funnier? You go to Hawaii and ask for a Hawaiian pizza, they fucking spit in your face. So that's how bad pineapple is on
Shout
pizza.
out to, I think it's called 1-3 Pizza or 131 Pizza. They had like full like pizza pies, like New
Oh,
York
yeah,
style
fucking
deep dish.
oath, yeah.
I was like,
We're
it's
getting
kind of
some after
small.
the show.
Fucking delicious. But any plugs for social medias / merch? We've
Look,
gone
just
over an hour, so we did really fucking good.
Look, just keep an eye on my Instagram at Nick Maltino. I don't know what I'll be plugging on there, honestly. I don't
Mike's
really
is
have
Dragon
anything else.
something. I don't know how to
I
spell it. I will still link it,
I
but
don't really plug too often.
Yeah,
Just because I just haven't had time to.
honestly,
really.
here's my thing. Just look out for your local wrestling event. Just
Yeah.
if you like wrestling, go to anything you fucking can.
Ooh, I'm getting a sneak peek firsthand at the Dad Squad gear as Mike Kelly gets changed. That is
Yeah,
amazing.
I want to get changed and hang a piss, so let's.
That's why I'm getting changed.
I'll link all of it. I'll link the Facebook and Instagram respectively.
Yeah.
The Pro Wrestling T
We
stores.
Yeah, oh yeah, that too. Yeah,
I will definitely
give me money, goddammit.
I'll definitely start working on getting a Dad Squad page out.
Yeah, we are working on that together, I guess.
Yeah.
We should be.
But yeah, thank you guys both for coming on. I look forward to your match tonight.
Thank you.
I can't wait to hang out again in the future. Kayfabe, brother, he doesn't like
I'll
him.
come to Wagga and hate the fucking roads there again, don't you worry.
Trust me, it's all he would not stop bitching about it on the way up here.
Oh, the roads in Cowra are so much better than the roads in Wagga.
But thank you, ladies and gentlemen. That was the Dad Squad.
Thank you,
Nick
Dad.
Maltino and Mike Kelly.
Thank you.
Woo! I hope you guys enjoyed listening to that as much as I enjoyed listening to it back. I laughed pretty hard with the run-in at the end there from Jake Gibson, just because I'm an absolute immature man-child, but look, who ain't? Let's be honest here. I do look forward to having Jake on at some point, as mentioned in that conversation, but I look forward to having Nick and Mike back respectively, whether it's by themselves or together, and just mark out, just shoot the shit, because as you can tell, just from this little snippet here, when we get together, we have a lot of fun, because we're all man-children, and again, who ain't? If you say you ain't, you're a fucking liar. But if you haven't already listened to last week's episode with Mrs. Crossfire where we discussed DMDU, I definitely recommend you get on that, because Mrs. Crossfire got super passionate about professional wrestling, and I'm just like, damn, that's my wife. But next week's episode, strong trigger warning for next week's episode. There will be an actual trigger warning on the actual episode as well, but it's going to be very raw, very mental health driven. I get way more vulnerable than I was ever expecting to, especially, within a public forum, but it needed to be done, I feel. So look out for that one, and I'm hoping that it can help someone. But yeah, that's next week. For this week, however, the song of the week was Wanted by Citizen Soldier. The match of the week was Razor Ramon versus Shawn Michaels at SummerSlam 1995. Remember to check the links in the description box below for all of Mike and Nick's respective social medias and merch. Of course, mine is there as always, and there will be all the information on any and all upcoming ICW events as well. I am the Essential John L. Crossfire, and you, yes you, were just caught in conversation.